पहले क्या बताया था खीरे? अरे नहीं काटना है वो। पहले क्या बताया था खीरे? अरे नहीं काटना है वो। पहले क्या बताया था खीरे? अरे नहीं काटना है वो। ₹50 लेके बताया था रात। अरे नहीं काटना है वो। ₹50 लेके बताया था रात। अरे नहीं काटना है वो। ₹50 लेके बताया था रात। अरे नहीं काटना है वो। ₹50 लेके बताया था रात। अरे नहीं काटना है वो।
Dear viewer, we are now going to start the webinar. Priya, now you can begin the webinar on BBA branding and advertising.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Glad to see that you've turned up in such big numbers. Thank you so much for your time and joining us for this webinar. I am Priya Menon. I'm one of the co-founders of this very unique curriculum that we have, which is called as the NMIMS School of Branding and Advertising. It is a very, very different kind of a program. In today's world where new companies are coming up every day, while some reach the pinnacle, others, I would say, collapse even without making a ripple. In such a scenario, manufacturing the best product or providing the best service is just not enough. It requires much more than that. And this is where we advertising professionals come in. We design adverts, we make use of marketing collaterals to help the clients reach their consumers, create a very positive brand image. Now, to become an advertising professional, one needs to have a creative bent of mind. You need to have good imaginary skills and flexibility, right? What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking you all through our, through a small little presentation, which talks about who we are, what we plan to do, what is the program like, and I'll hopefully address all your questions that I can see is on the, right next to my window here. We are a very unique program. And when I say we believe in education which challenges you as a student, it is because it is the need of the hour. The academics, the learning scenarios in our country has changed completely. It cannot be what it used to be. You cannot have a rote learning system. And we believe even with coronavirus, I think the whole, the world has changed. Today, there are no jobs. Unemployment is a very big issue. And for your one job opportunity, which used to be about 10 people, today there are hundreds of them for the job. So how would you identify the right candidate for the job? And this is where our program is very different. We choose students in a very different manner. We choose for the right kind of students, and we make sure that we put them through this grilling 3 years. It's not easy at all to survive us through these 3 years, which is a wonderful learning opportunity for them. And so that when they step out of the college after 3 years, they don't really need to look for a job. The job will find them. That's the idea. Now, when you look at this small little ad, which is on your screens, which talks about not to underestimate the power of branding, just look at this ad. What does it say? It is so beautiful and catchy that even, it's basically a British ad. And the idea behind this ad was, what in a world could awaken paintings? A cup of an instant espresso. It may or may not appeal to a lot of you because it's not meant for the Indian audience. It was for the UK audience. Look at how your Googles and Facebooks are monetizing through advertising on their platforms. Now, what is advertising? Why is branding such a beautiful story? Where does it all start? Who is the world's best brand manager? You know where it starts from? It's your mom. Your mom is the world's best brand manager. Why? When you're born, she gives you a unique identity by giving you a beautiful, unique name. Now, whether you live up to the expectations or not is another story. But ideally, she gives you a very unique name. And she says, your name means this. So you're going to be, for example, it's Vijay. Then I want you to be victorious all your life. I want you to take challenges. I want you to take risks. And I want you to come out victoriously. Now, Vijay, during his growing up years, is taught a lot of beautiful values, values of honesty, values of integrity, various values. Now, as he grows up, those values he will apply, whether at workplace, whether at studies, whether in his life. Right from the time we are born till the end of our lives, we are nothing but a beautiful story. That is what branding is to you. Now, we as a college or we as an institution decided that it is very important to not churn out people who follow a bandwagon. And that's been very clear right from the beginning. We always and will choose people who think out of the box, because advertising and branding is that kind of a program which requires high levels of creativity, lots of flexibility, and absolutely thinking out of the box. So when it is a program which teaches you to think out of the box, how do you think we are going to be executing it? Yeah. So that's a very different program structure. That's what I'm going to take you through. Now, this is what we believe in. We believe that there is no substitute for hard work. And how do we get that? We send you straight away to the ground. When I say ground, I mean you start from the basics. When we have topics of marketing, you don't expect to learn marketing or sales in the classroom. You'll be out on the fields. And that is where you will learn it. It's very experiential. Who we are. Let me just run you through quickly these basics so that we can start addressing your queries in a much detailed manner. So we are 5 founders. We have Mr. Prahlad Kakkar, who is obviously a legend in the field of advertising. We have Pratish Nair. The whole concept of branding and advertising in this manner, this is the man behind it. It was his idea, and it is his thought process which has led to this beautiful curriculum, which now a lot of the students want to be a part of. There's me, there's Mitali, who's Prahlad's wife, and there's Riya Kamairani. In fact, she's one of the best people you'll be meeting at the college. She's the most loved in the institution. She's the one who keeps the academics in order and in structure, right? Prahlad has been very well known for his ads. In fact, I would say that the brand endorsements, if it was started in India, when these celebrities today are making tons of money, that's because of Prahlad. He started the concept of celebrity-based endorsements. And, when he started it, at that point in time, Indian advertising was very different. So be it your Amir, be it your Shah Rukh, Sachin Tendulkar, all of these people started off with Prahlad. Thankfully, our concept that Pratish had in mind is not just endorsed by the university, but also by some of the best industry experts. Piyush Pandey, as you very well know, is a legend in the field of advertising, Indian advertising, I would say, because when Piyush came into the circle of advertising, he changed the way Indian people looked at advertising. We have Dr. Velumani, who is the founder of Thyrocare. We have Devan Arunanda, who is the founder of Rediffusion YNR. Kiran Mazumdar Shaw, everybody knows. Biocon. Sunil Alag used to be the chief of Britannia Industries. These are some of our advisory board members. And therefore, the curriculum that we teach you and what we follow is with the concepts and beliefs of these people that has made this curriculum very unique. I don't want to talk about the international opportunities now. I will do it once we are at the far end of our discussion. Now, this is very important for you to understand. What will you learn with us? I hear there's a very big list of students who want to be a part of our very unique program. And as much as I'd love, for us, all of us, we would love for you guys to be with us and learn from us, but we have a limitation. The last year, we did not want to take a big number of students, and we stuck with 60, but we went on to, take 75 very good students. This year, we are limiting ourselves to 120 only, and I hear there's been an overwhelming response for our program. Why is that? Is because of the need of the hour. The country is going is growing rapidly in terms of the kind of work that's out there. And we don't just teach students to look at a job opportunity, we look at making them into entrepreneurs. And I think that is a little bit of a difference with our program. The concept of the branding and advertising program itself is rooted in terms of wonderful values that you will learn throughout the curriculum in these 3 years. The first thing that you will learn is ownership. Every other values that you will learn is through process of life projects. For example, you have a topic of fundraising that you're going to learn in a particular week. You're not just going to be learning it by way of books. You're actually going to raise funds. And it's the most difficult part of business for anybody. So unless you take ownership and say, I'm going out and I'm going to do this and I'm going to try and raise funds, whether I fail at it or not is a secondary thing, but I'm going to take ownership and I'm going to be completely responsible for this particular project. That is what we teach you. We teach you anticipation. We strongly believe that our God is Murphy. And when I say Murphy, it means if anything can go wrong, it will. We teach you to anticipate, we teach you to fail, and we teach you to find out a solution even before you fail. And that is very important, because while most of the colleges, I'm not trying to say that we're the best as compared to the others, but what I'm trying to say is we teach what others don't. It is important because all of us, with our collective experiences in the field of advertising, marketing, or branding, or films, whatever it is, we've realized the only thing that our education system needs is practical learning. In a typical scenario of an ad, okay, where you're supposed to make an ad, and the production here, unlike a film industry where the producers put in a lot of money, when it comes to advertising and there is an ad filmmaking as a portfolio, then the production house is basically the ad agency, and what they do is they already have a confirmed amount that you're supposed to be using to make an ad. Imagine your wonderful celebrities are ready, your concept is ready, your camera crew is ready, and you don't anticipate that it's going to rain. Who pays for the loss? Because everybody goes back home and you can't shoot. So anticipation is very important. Coronavirus, when it started off, Indian government anticipated it, and hence, the Prime Minister wanted a certain lockdown before even it started spreading in big numbers. That is anticipation, right? We teach you to fail, period. It is important to fail for you to understand what success is. We believe success stories are all farce. It doesn't work. Success story is not true. There's not a single success without failure. So we teach you to fail. In fact, we encourage you to fail, and we ask you to use that failure lessons to be able to learn it in a better manner. We dare to be different because the kind of activities we put you all through is very challenging. And there is a smile on my face when I'm saying this because we really torture you. We put you through very difficult situations, which is not comfortable. To give you an example, we've got something called strategic activities, which happens once every week. And most of the students come from homes where they've never traveled by train or a bus and have had the privilege, to use their cars. And the first day of the college is where they were introduced to meeting the dabbawalas and literally carrying the dabbas along with the dabbawalas and traveling by trains. And it is not a very comfortable scenario. Who are not put into such situations, and thereby understanding the importance of struggle. So we are not going to be not just following our textbooks, which we are very strong in academics, but we are also going to be pushing you all in a lot of experiential activities. So our strategic activities are carefully designed every single day, every single week, where what you learn in the class is going to be incorporated by way of strategic activities. We have something called as experiential activities, which define us. A lot of these, some of them have written me questions like, what are your sports activities? So, branding and advertising is not about sports, and nor are we a tourism company. Let me clarify that very clearly. But what we do in terms of experiential programs are very important because they make you the person you're going to be after 3 years. We've seen students who've come to us with stammering, with various issues, with lack of confidence, and at the end of the program, the way they've blossomed into the most confident individuals. I remember this kid that you see on the screen. His name is Dylan. Who's looking right at you. He is somebody who had a major issue with stuttering and lack of confidence and major fear for public speaking. And at the end of the course, what he did was he gave a speech for about 10 minutes and he received a standing ovation. with the kind of confidence he, and the people who gave him a standing ovation were not known to him, and they did not know his background. And that I think is an achievement for you, to be able to see a personal change in yourself. And we start with, every year we have some strategic experiential programs. The first year you have something called a survival boot camp, which we start off with every single student. All our experiential activities are compulsory. There is no way you can pick and choose. So it comes as a part of the program. So the survival boot camp, you get to know all your classmates, and you come back as a clan, as a tribe, which is what we want, because those 3 days are not very good 3 days. We put you through an army-based training program, which builds your officer-like qualities, which is very important according to us. Also in the same year, we have horse riding. So the first year you have survival boot camp and horse riding. The second year, you have an option to choose either between scuba diving or mountaineering. Either of them. So some of them have fear of water, some of them have fear of heights, and they choose otherwise, whichever, either of these programs. It's up to you, either scuba or mountaineering. Scuba diving is done with a very renowned company, where we take the entire, we are very careful about the kind of tools we use, and the children are put in that kind of a scenario. Safety is of utmost importance. But a very brilliant activity, because what you see here is not just for the purpose of Shosha, it's there is a purpose to this madness, if I would have to say. So fear of water is basically fear of the unknown, and that's how it is when you finish your course after your 3 years, and you really do not know how is it going to be like, how is my job going to be like, how is my life going to be like. But scuba diving basically teaches you to let go of the fears and face the moment right on at that very moment. I mean, I don't know if all of you know swimming, but you realize that if you don't know to swim, you struggle a lot in the water to breathe. But once you let go, you immediately start coming up and you start floating, and that's when you start swimming, right? That's exactly how life is. I mean, the more you struggle, the more you try to come out, it's going to take time. But if you try and relax and you calm down and you let go, and you make up your mind that you want to face the fears, you will be able to come out of it. The first year, again, the horse riding part of it. Mountaineering is done with this wonderful gentleman called as Jamling Norgay. Jamling's father, Sherpa Tenzing, was world's first, a person who climbed the Himalayas. Along with, he's the world's first Himalayan climber. What Jamling does is he takes you through a wonderful journey of the Himalayas, and he gives you a wonderful experience for the people who are not just scared of heights, but who also take the path of compromise. So mountaineering for us is a leadership lesson. It means challenges are going to be there throughout your life, and you're not going to give up your challenges thinking, oh my God, there are shortcuts. There are no shortcuts to mountain climbing. You have to take the hard route. And every business and every aspect of life is like, there are no shortcuts to success anyway. These are some of our students experiencing some wonderful lessons at the Himalayas. The third year, you also have, this is again compulsory, we take you to South Africa. And when we take you to South Africa, it looks wonderful because it's a foreign country, but we also make sure that we give you a glimpse of how it is with shark cage diving, or with what you see on your screen right now, jumping off the plane. I'm not saying that if anybody has a medical problem, we'd push you out of the plane. We won't do that. But it is important that out of the 10 activities that we have laid down for you, every single student is required to do 5 activities. Either be it getting off your fear of animals, or reptiles rather, not animals, reptiles, snakes, largely snakes, because we feel that, all of us have this mindset that all snakes are poisonous, and only when you hold a reptile in your hand and you get over that fear, it really is a beyond fear experience. So you have the option of choosing any 5 activities. A great learning experience. Imagine the kind of people you will become after all of these experiential programs. Theatre lessons is also a part of the learning, where a lot of our students have found a complete change in themselves after our theatre program. It's a part of the curriculum. So the experiential activities happens once every year. The first year, survival boot camp and horse riding. The second year, it's scuba diving or a mountaineering, and the theatre lessons. And the last year, it is the South African program. Now, I'll take you through our curriculum. Now, again, I'm seeing a lot of questions about what is a normal BBA and a BBA branding and advertising. A regular BBA will have your regular subjects like math, economics, organizational behavior, marketing principles. All of these are a part of our curriculum. So whatever is taught in a regular BBA, we have it covered. But what is special about BBA branding and advertising is we don't just stop there. We give you an additional specialization in branding and advertising, which is what makes us very different, because you don't just learn what is a brand or how is it important and what are the components or strategies, but how do you manage and build your own brand. Your own personal branding is also very important. On the screen, you would see some of the topics of advertising, which is also a part of the curriculum. So you learn all the subjects, which is a part of your BBA regular, and you learn more subjects on branding and advertising, which is a part of the curriculum, which makes it very interesting. Now, what I would say is, in terms of methodology, every faculty that we have here makes it a very different learning experience. We're not the ones who are going to be just making a PPT and getting you to follow PPT. All our faculties are somehow involved in the industry with, and they come with a big amount of industry experience. Because of that, every learning experience in the class is fun. There are a lot of activities. They learn a lot through role plays. They learn a lot through projects, case studies, and it's fun. And that kind of learning experience really brings out the best in students. We also have a very unique property of ours, which is called as the Itch Summit. This is again a summit which is created by Mr. Nair, Mr. Pratish Nair, and Itch Summit. The name itself is so unique. It talks about inviting about 10 people from the country who've had the itch to do things differently. So the 2018 Itch Summit had some of the best speakers, be it Lakshmi Agarwal, as you can see, or Piyush Pandey, Dino Maurya. The other person that you see is Lieutenant General Patankar. The last year we had again some wonderful speakers like Vidya Balan and Rakesh Prakash Mehra, Amit Sharma, who made Badai Ho, Ravina Tandon. And this year's Itch Summit was completely organized by the students. So what did they learn as a part of Itch Summit is reaching out to those kind of people who have the itch to do things differently. So there's a lot of research that goes into it, right from bringing the sponsors to planning the event, to organizing it, to managing the sponsorships for the event, to the client servicing part of it, to managing the audience. A brilliant experience for our students. What you see on the screen now is strategic activities. I assume this was finding a job activity where every student was to go out and was given a certain limited time frame to find a job for themselves, and how they manage when you're just asked to just go out and find a job, and jobs are not waiting readily for you in the market. It's not an easy thing. While some surprised us with the kind of jobs they found, others failed at it but did not give up, and that's a great learning. This is how a certain class activity takes place in the class, and which makes it very interesting for the students. Every single student participates, and there's so much fun, and they've all bonded really well, in fact. This is a 6 Thinking Hats module, I believe, which is generally taken up in MBA programs, right? So we are not limiting ourselves to just academic learning, but something which makes it very interesting for the students. So today, when you place my SOBA students with any other students who are preparing for their MBA, you will see that their knowledge, their understanding, their presentation, their confidence is far better, because they are not just related to bookish. I mean, if it was just academics, all you had to do was just wrote, and by heart a couple of things in the paper and write it. And that's not what we want. We want you to start thinking, and we want you to start analyzing, and we want you to start understanding why you're doing certain things. So this is a Dabawala activity, a very popular one amongst the students. They've had a fabulous time going through these activities, right? So yes, so we, again, one of those activities where we put them through a very difficult situation and they're supposed to find solutions to it. A lot of our classroom sessions are like that. Be it your maths, be it your economics, be it your organizational behavior. This year itself, I think the first semester, our students fundraised for the Nargis Dutt Foundation, which will be given as an opportunity for our new students also. And they raised about 12 lakhs. And I think that is a commendable amount of money. And Priya herself had come over and handed over the certifications to the students. They participated in the marathon post that. Its summit was wonderful on the project that they were a part of. They also get this opportunity to meet up some of the industry people like this. The picture that you see is a visit to Thyrocare, a meeting with Dr. Velumani, where the students got to understand his vision and why did he start the company itself. So it's not just an industrial visit where you go and have a look at the factory and come back. There's no point in doing that unless and until you meet the founders, you meet the stakeholders, and you understand the vision behind that company and what makes it so unique. Its summit this year's had some wonderful speakers. Like I said, we had Nina Gupta, we had Moshe Sheikh. We also had the very famous Dadi from Sant-Kiyak, who was there, and some wonderful speakers. And these are all our students who participated at the summit. They stayed hungry throughout the day, but they managed the event so beautifully well. I'm so proud of them. This is a very unique campus project that they're currently working on. Every student has to choose a team. So there are about 8 jam companies at this point in time at the campus. And what you see here is the companies that these students have started. Once they started making jams for their own companies, each company has about 8 or 9 people as a team. And they've chosen to make some wonderful flavors. They visits to 5-star properties and, the feedback from various people who got to taste their jams. This is a visit to Kidzania, and they met up with this CMO, Chief Marketing Officer of Kidzania. His name is Mandar. And a great learning experience for them as to what is Kidzania. Not just visiting Kidzania, they worked out with a project for Kidzania, a branding and advertising project, which is a live project, and which is very critical because, it's easy for us to just show you a case study and say, listen, this is when the Kidzania started and this is where it is. But it is very different when you visit the company, when you understand where the company's vision, what it is and what they want to do. And they look out for solutions from students like y'all, the advertising professionals. And you give them very good branding solutions and they're incorporating it. It's a wonderful feeling in itself for the students to actually put into practice what they've learned. This is the Mumbai Marathon I spoke to you all about that they participated in. And what a great response. This was at the boot camp. Where the students got to experience very different challenging scenarios and superb way of showcasing teamwork. The gentleman's picture that you see here is Mr. Udit Vedant. He's also part of the mentor team, and he's somebody who's directed some of the best programs on television, be it Roadies or be it Khatron Ke Khiladi. And imagine the kind of boot camp we have in store for you. So these are all strategic activities. There's always what you see also there is a street play. So, and the students who are very uncomfortable coming out of their comfort zones in the classroom are required to participate in a street play. And I think that brings out the best of their abilities. Yes, that's a theatre lessons. Now, a very important question, how can you be a part of this radical program? Not easy. See, what we're looking for is not just students who are academically brilliant. We're not looking for academically brilliant people. When I say not looking for, doesn't mean that you have to be laid back when it comes to academics. Academics is very important. Having said that, what we're looking for are people who are very unique with creative bent of mind, like I said, who have the ability to not give up, who have a flair for communication, who are very proactive in terms of approach, so that when there is a project that's given, because there's lots of hard work that goes in creating those kind of opportunities for you. And if the class does not participate, there's no point in bringing those opportunities for you. So we look at the students who understand and value these kind of projects, right? So yes, a BBA branding and advertising definitely needs a 12th grade certification or a qualification with minimum 50% of marks in the first attempt. You have your NPAT, which is a regular program that we have for you. If you log on to npat.in, you will find the details of the registration, the dates of your exams and everything. At this point in time, despite the corona, we are still sticking to the dates since we've not received any government directive. We're hoping to receive it in a week or two. The minute we receive it, please check your website, this website regularly, and your landing pages also, because any information or change in the format of the test will be out there. So we're not going to be personally calling anybody. You will have to look for this information on npat.in. After your NPAT, we have something called as a divergent thinking test. That is very important for us, and that is where we choose the right students. So a divergent while your NPAT looks at your quantitative, qualitative, your all the other abilities, your communication, all of those things. What we look at in divergent thinking test is creativity. We particularly ask the students not to be prepared for a divergent thinking test because you can't prepare for it. There's no test format. You've got to think, on your feet, and you have to be very spontaneous. And we give you very tricky questions that you're supposed to apply your mind to an answer. I've seen students who've scored 98, 97% of marks failing in divergent thinking tests, and people who've scored 52 scoring really high, because creativity cannot be based on your academic. Those are two different things. Post a divergent thinking test, we'd have personal interviews, and that is where also we'd be choosing our students. Like I said, we'd be happy to have everybody on board, but we have a limitation, and we are looking at about 120 students this year. I'd like to share some student testimonials and activities for you. You could have a look at it and see what the students got to say about the program. Anshul, do you want to play the student testimonials for them?
Yes, sure.
My name is Ritik, and I'm a student of NMIMS School of Branding and Advertising. The students of our age are heading towards the more real-life experience and radical learning. Here at NMIMS, we have access to the industrial specialists and activities. But most importantly, this college has helped me to come out of my comfort zone, which is essential for all the students of our ages. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sakshi Chadda, and I am from NMIMS School of Branding and Advertising. I'm studying in the first year. So here at NMIMS School of Branding and Advertising, we have something called as strategic activities, wherein we go out of college and get onto the field, and we learn how certain businesses in the marketplace work. This is very helpful because it gives us so much insight, and it helps us in quick decision making. It shows us how fast-paced life outside is. And so we had an activity called as Get a Job, wherein we had to go out of college and we had to get a job, find ourselves a job, work, earn money and come back. And it taught us all great value for money and hard work. Thank you. Value for money and hard work.
Okay. Now that you saw the feedback testimonials of students, I'm going to start answering the questions that you have, because I think I can see so many questions, and I think I'll start with answering those questions. So Siddhani says, hello ma'am, what is the difference between normal BBA and BBA branding and advertising? I did answer that, Siddhani, that while you have the regular BBA curriculum, we don't just cover the BBA curriculum. Everything that's a part of the BBA is covered here. Plus, you would get advertising and branding as specialization during the part of the program. I am an NRI and applied to NMIMS for this program. Will the entrance exam for this program be too difficult for me, as I've not been accustomed to Indian entrance exams? So the NPAT is a very different process. It checks on your ability of your math, your general knowledge, and a lot of those, your English, your analytical thinking, all of those things. There are too many students who take up the NPAT, and post the NPAT is when we go with the divergent thinking test and PI. So it's going to be a culmination of all of these three tests that we want to take a final call on and display the merit list. Ma'am, will the NPAT exam be postponed? We do not know what the situation is, Ojasvi. At this point in time, we'll stick with the schedule which is mentioned on npat.in. Please check the website on regular basis. If at all there will be any delay due to coronavirus, we will let you know of it. Yeah. At this point in time, we'll stick to those dates. How evolving is your curriculum? Branding and marketing changes every day with technology rapid. Is that change reflected in your program? Yes, Ragni, you're right. Branding and advertising, and not just branding and advertising, I think the whole market has gone through a change as we've currently seen now. So every curriculum that is not an evolving curriculum anyway will not help any student. And our program is very evolving. Our subjects, therefore, the industry experts are the people who come and teach you the subjects. Our strategic activities are very different. Our projects are very different. How we do it and how we are taught in the class is very different. Hence, it's an evolving curriculum. How branding and advertising differs, as in I didn't get your question, as in how is it going to make a difference to your career? Is that what you're asking? Dino, please, I need a clarification on that question. Is BBA good or MBA for future? So BBA has to start off and lead to an MBA, but I tell my students a BBA itself is very good. See, most of the students at our end who finish their BBA, can start their own businesses with the support we give them, with the kind of knowledge they have in the class. And we always request and we always encourage the students to get into entrepreneurship, because you look at the current scenario. If you're not making something and if you're not out there creating something different, you're losing out this wonderful opportunity. So I feel that every student should try a hand at entrepreneurship if you have the privilege, if you have the ability, and if you have the knowledge and the support and the network. And we are here to help you, so of course. And an MBA is absolutely good. Now, branding is a very different subject. I often tell the students, most of them tell me, ma'am, I want to go abroad and study advertising. But if you see the Mona Lisa ad and why I placed it there is because that appeals to a very different audience. What appeals to a British audience will not appeal to an Indian audience. So if you want to do advertising in India, you should know the Indian market. You should know how the advertising functions in India. You should know the legends of our country, and you should know your customers of your country, to be able to give them that kind of a communication or create that kind of a brand impact. If you want to go abroad and learn advertising and branding, please do so. But make sure that you join an advertising company there, and because you've understood the sensibilities there, right? It's very different. Indian sensibility is very different. What is will impact people? So most of the questions are repeated. The ones which are repeated, I'm going to be mentioning that I've, it's the same answer. Rachit, I've already answered this question, which is BBA or MBA, which is better. I would always recommend more masters, always helps. But a BBA itself should be good if you're wanting to start your business. Again, will NPAT be postponed or will it be held online? We are still contemplating on that, Tarushi. We do not know yet. At this point in time, we will stick with what is the schedule that's mentioned on npat.in. Is NPAT postponed? Since you've not received any information about it, we will stick with what is mentioned. How are these activities related to the cause? That's very good. Radhika, like I said, our program is not just limited to academics. When you look at strategic activities, when you look at a Dharavi or a Dabbawala program, right? Look at a Dharavi activity. Suppose you're learning market segmentation in the class. It is very easy for a faculty to come and teach you, hey, listen, this is market segmentation. This is how you identify a target audience. And this is the age bracket. And this is how we do it. But unless and until you're put in a scenario where you are learning it out of your own experience, it's not going to leave an impact in your mind. And you're not going to be able to use it anywhere once you finish the college. So the idea behind this curriculum is to be able to execute what you have learned in class. So when you do a Dabbawala or when you do a Dharavi activity, and when you're going out into the streets of Dharavi and you're working with individuals and business people of Dharavi, you're negotiating with them, you're understanding what you've learned in the class and you're incorporating it. Any experiential activity that we have planned has a reason, like I said, has a purpose. Horse riding is about not giving up. What happens when you fall off a horse? You get back on it. You don't say, I'm going to forget, I'll never ride a horse again. The minute I see a horse, I'm going to run with tail between my legs. That's not going to work. You'll have to get back on and you'll have to start to learn to ride. And that's exactly how life is. If there is a failure, you don't hide and you don't lock yourself in a room and say, I'm never going to face the world again. So those are life lessons which nobody teaches. And it is very essential for us that we teach our kids life lessons so that when they finish the 3 years program, they're not just academically good. They're not just good in terms of work and business, but also in personal life. And, they stand out as individuals because of the experiences we give them. Will this course make us aware about the changing situation in branding and advertising industry, like moving from, I'm sorry, I'm missing those questions. It's going too fast. 1 second, hold on. Naughty. Is maths compulsory for BBA? Yes, maths is compulsory for BBA, Vishnupriya, but our maths is very different. Our maths is not something which is, even when you ask some of our students who are currently part of the program, most of them were scared of the subject math, but it is important to go really beyond fear in academics also. The faculties are very unique. They make sure that the learning is very different, and it is important to learn math. At the end of the day, you're going to be still working, you're going to be doing a part of the business. You will need to know some basic bit of math, and it's important for branding because it's production and advertising. So you should know where the money comes from, where is it going, are you being duped or not. Math is compulsory, yes. How will the selection process? Soumya Gupta. 1 second, hold on. After NPAT. Soumya, after your NPAT, there will be divergent thinking test and personal interview. When is the NPAT conducted? Please look at npat.in. The dates are mentioned in there. Is BBA branding and advertising in the campus of NMIMS? Yes, it is. In Mumbai. I had taken arts in HSC in 12th. Am I eligible? Yes, you are. What have we to study for NPAT? Look up, you'll find on the NPAT the details of what the exam will be about. You'll have to do some little bit of research there. Okay, now which places are the placements? It's a very interesting question, and every year I get this question, and I find this answer very funny because you look up any colleges in this world, and when they say 100% placements, do you think they're going to be giving 100% placements to all the students? Why would they? So there's nothing called as 100% placement. There's 100% placement assistance. Yes, there is assistance, and we will definitely make sure that if you're one of those students who work hard, who are going to be doing all the projects, who's going to be pushing yourself beyond the limits that we expect, then obviously we're going to give you some best opportunities for your career opportunities for you all as well. So yes, there is placement assistance for every single student as part of the program. I've been going through a site many times to apply for it. Branding and advertising. Too many questions. Hold on, I will be going slow. But I mean, no reply on the site. Could be reason for it. Okay, so anybody who's not getting any response on the website, on the slide there's an email ID, admissioninquiry@nmims.edu. There is a toll-free number. That's the only place you can send an email, or you can call up on the toll-free number. I'm sure they'll help you. What are the jobs we can apply after BBA? Now, you know, advertising as a career is very, very interesting. You have career opportunities in a corporate sector, advertising agencies, production houses, media agencies, or as freelancers. And opportunities for anybody who finishes an advertising or a branding program is huge, because you get to look at client servicing, you get to look at marketing, you get to look at handling different profiles of different brands as brand managers. So there are multiple roles. So and every industry, every agency has different roles for a branding and an advertising professional. Lots of them actually. BBA with MBA integrated course, how do I apply with it? I do not know, because we don't have a BBA with MBA integrated here, but at NMIMS there is. So what you can do is log on to nmims.com and you'll find all the information there. How's BBA Finance and International Business from BBA Branding and Advertising? So Hiralal, BBA Finance and International Business, as the name suggests, will focus on finance and international business, and BBA Advertising and Branding will focus on advertising and branding. Will having a hand on filmmaking help? So the last year, which is the third year of your program, you also have an option which is not charged separately. It is a part of the program. We give you an option for those who are interested. They can also learn additional ad filmmaking program, which involves a lot of industry professionals again. So which gives you an idea of what ad filmmaking is. You're not going to become a thorough ad filmmaker, but you'll get an idea of how to use a camera, what is production like, and how to say a story in 30 seconds. So the basics definitely will be done in that 1 year. Yeah, storytelling, the idea of storytelling, the grammar of ad filmmaking will be covered. Will BBA not improve my confidence and presentability as good as this course can? Of course, it will improve, Shivang, but our strategy activities and experiential activities are designed in a manner that you will stand out. Are these activities only included in program of BBA Branding and Advertising or any management program? Only with BBA Branding and Advertising. These are exclusive for NMIMS SOBA. Yes, Mahika. please ask me the question that you want to. I am confused between branding and HR. So if after a few months, can I shift to NMIMS? Well, no, because we have a very limited intake of 120 students. And with this huge response that we've received, and with only 120 students, we'll not be taking anybody in random. So the next opportunity would go to somebody who's the next in line. What is the fee structure? The fee structure is 3 lakhs per year, and you have for experiential activities an additional 80,000 rupees plus GST. So it makes it 3 lakhs 80,000. But only the experiential activities have GST component. No, the trips and activities are not included in the fees. The fees for strategic activities, the experiential activities is different. So your academic fee is 3 lakhs per year. For your experiential activities, it is 80,000 rupees plus GST every year. So the first year, all of these activities are taken care of. The only thing it does not include is the flight charges. We make sure we do not. Please understand, there are no flight charges that's included in this. You have to pay for your own flights. Look at the current scenario. I mean, if we had booked it, and all those kind of confusions is created. So we always make sure that the students have to pay for their flight charges. That's the only expenditure you will have to then pay for. Yeah, and of course, if you end up shopping in South Africa, we are not going to pay for it. Will NPAT now be conducted online from our homes? We are contemplating, but like I said, you will have to look up npat.in on regular basis to get your response. How do we take admission? My dear, you will have to register for the NPAT. You have to clear the NPAT, then you will have to clear the divergent thinking test and personal interview. Hostel facilities. See, all of these information are available on the website, and I think it's important that you refer to the website to get the answers that you're looking for. Only after NPAT, a few chosen students will be able to give. No, we would rather, yes, the NPAT has a certain, we would choose a certain number of students through NPAT. Basic score is required. And once that is done, we put them through a divergent thinking test and personal interview. Ma'am, will divergent thinking test pass NPAT for everyone? So ideally, we would prefer for those who would pass the NPAT. So you have to clear the NPAT, and then you have to come for the divergent thinking test. I mean, for example, 15,000 students, we can't be putting them through all the tests for 120, right? So once you clear the NPAT, we will put them through divergent thinking test and through the personal interview. Ma'am, can we do MBA after BBA branding and advertising? Will it be absolutely a good option to go for Anshika? You must. Pulastya, a divergent thinking test. I'll give you an example. Suppose you, like I said, you cannot prepare for the exam. So when you're given a certain question, it could be like, make a tagline for Swachh Bharat. Do you get what I'm saying? It's going to be a very different kind of a question which gets you to think on the spot. So make a campaign for coronavirus, where people are not like a stay-at-home kind of a concept. So those questions which is very relevant, which may not be relevant also. I mean, it could be anything. Make a ad for a coffee. It could be anything. So how you present that information, how creatively within that stipulated time you come out and think out of the box is how a divergent thinking test is measured. Will the course be held online if coronavirus crisis doesn't stabilize? How will the practical aspects be taught? So now when we're looking at the coronavirus scenario, which is going to be a possibility and a situation all across the world, we assume that there will be classes online till some time, but that doesn't mean your activities are not going to happen. You have 3 years with us, and during those 3 years, a lot of activities will be done, and you will not miss out on those opportunities. Don't worry. As soon as the college reopens, you will be put through all of those activities. I want to build my own empire. Will this course be helpful? I wouldn't know if your empire has the right vision and has the right objectives for the business. Perhaps we can help you build your empire. How to study for it. I'm not, one second. I have art without math in class 12. Can I apply? Yes, you can apply, Shubham. You need not have basic, a maths as subject in the 11th or 12th to continue with us. Ours is basic math, yeah. So that can be done. Even if if you've not taken maths in 12, that's not a problem. Math is mandatory for us, yes. In the first semester, it is. Suppose we don't get good marks. One second. Okay. Suppose we don't get good mark in NPAT, but score well in divergent thinking test. How will it affect our selection? I have no answer to this, Jay, because there are some people I've seen who performed excellently at a personal interview than how they've presented at their divergent thinking. So that will be taken into consideration. The faculties and the people who are taking our interviews, it will depend on them. And if they believe you're creative enough, I don't see a reason why you shouldn't get it. Ma'am, please consider postponing NPAT as few of us are outstation students and flights for me are cancelled. Yes, Shaumek, we're looking at it. Please continue to be, checking our landing page and npat.in for more information. So, Janvi, the updated date of NPAT exam is as it is on the npat.in. Ekanksh, ma'am, I have a question. I've not opted for maths on class 12. Yes, you can continue. You can continue and you can apply for branding and advertising. I hope I've answered most of the questions. Yeah, I think I've mostly answered most of the questions. Anurag, Mr. Piyush was also the campaign leader for BJP. So see how strong the advertising industry is and how brilliantly branding stories can come out. It's the power of advertising. Fee structure is mentioned on the website. Still, I'll clarify it once again. It is 3 lakhs per year for the academics part, for your experiential activities, which is your scuba diving or your mountaineering the second year, either of them. Either it's scuba or mountaineering the second year. Third year, it's South Africa. The first year, it's survival boot camp and horse riding and theatre lessons. Every year, it is 80,000 rupees plus GST extra for your experiential activities. The only thing is we are not going to be taking care of your flight tickets. That's something that you should make a note of. Thank you, Ishan. If you like the program. Many who've written, they've not been able to hear, or there's been problem with the webinar. I will try and see if we can get in touch again and we can try and organize one more for the benefit of those who missed out. Yeah. So somebody's written a very interesting question, Joel. So I have dyslexia and math without a calculator. It's really hard for me. So tracking NPAT seems to be okay, but numerical part. So don't worry, Joel. An NPAT does not. So the importance that's given to math in NPAT is it's a very small percentage. So if you score high on all the others, it's not to worry, because the idea is not to measure you on your skills of maths, but your overall, right? So your analytical ability or your thinking on feet or your creativity, basically all of those things will also have a good amount of importance. So Shivang, ma'am, please explain the purpose of the interview. It is important for us to understand whether we are getting in the right students. And every year we've seen that when we interact with a lot of students and only on the basis of an NPAT, we don't get to know if the student is creative or not. And for us to understand this field, advertising and branding cannot compromise on creativity. This is the only field where you've got to be creative, you've got to be pushing yourselves, you've got to be very flexible, you've got to be open to struggle, because there are no timings, right? So when you join a agency or you join a production house or an ad agency, you will realize that your work timings are completely off, unlike other companies or other industries, which is a 9 to 5. Here, people walk in at about, say, 2 o'clock in the afternoon and work the whole night. So you've got to be flexible. And during the curriculum, we push the students through such a scenario that sometimes they're actually working on 5-6 projects at the same time. So they are really multitasking here, because that's exactly how the industry is. While you're working on one project, your client may also want you to work on a couple of other projects. And you're not going to say no, because that's how we work on really shorter timelines, and you've got to make sure that you meet those timelines. So that is why I said we put you through a lot of challenging situations throughout the program. And we give you a real-time feel of how it is, which is a branding and advertising industry. It is a very industry which pays really well too. But for that matter, you really need to put in a lot of effort. It's not easy. What are the average placements after this course? So, my dear Tanmay, we would love to place all of you, and therefore the opportunities that you would get would be huge. You would get opportunities with some of the best companies, in terms of placements. But those are all opportunities. How you convert an opportunity into a placement is in your hands. So, Ishan, we are an institution which is very much connected with the market. So we do understand an online and digital advertising is now of ultimate importance. So please understand there are subjects in the way we go forward with teaching you all the methodology, and the work that you do is also a lot of digital advertising involved. So we do take care of those subjects as well. Not to worry. Normally, how is aptitude helpful in taking up selecting the students, and how is this helpful for you guys even to understand, even to students? Just a second, I'm not able to read this question. Siddhani says, normally, how is aptitude helpful in taking up or selecting the students, and how is this helpful for you guys, even for students, not only for universities, but for college? Why is the basic thing? So Siddhani, imagine you have only 120 seats and you have 15,000 people who have applied. How do you filter that audience? An aptitude test gives you an idea of an overall qualities of a student for any college. And once you filter those qualities is when then you conduct your own test to identify whether this student fits in the kind of profile we are looking at. Yes, I think so far I've answered most of the questions. I'll just mark them red so that I know. So the date for BBA entrance is same or any change? Rita, like I said, please log on to npatch.in. The schedule is not changed yet. It's still the same. But keep referring to npatch.in. If there are any changes to the dates or schedule, you will know it there. At this point in time, we'll stick with the dates mentioned. Yes, Vandita, you're supposed to give both NPAT as well as divergent thinking test and interviews if you've cleared the NPAT. I hope Siddhani's question answered. Amisha, the placements have still not happened for the last year's batch, which was the first batch for us for the BBA. They're in the second year. But the previous placements that I can very proudly say, we are an extension of Genesis advertising agency, which essentially had some wonderful alumni. Our alumni are people like Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra, Ravina Tandon, Javed Jafri. So these are very well-renowned names, I'm sure. Homi Adajania. So if you walk into any advertising agency today and you try and ask them how many of y'all are ex-Genesis, 80% of the people have been a part of Genesis. And therefore, our placements with advertising agencies or companies or production houses is much better because our students are there, right? With our ad filmmaking, when we had initially started off at PKSBE, our students are currently placed with some of the best production houses. Some of them are working in film, some of them are working in ad agencies. So yeah, the placements has been excellent, but also because we teach them to push themselves beyond the limit and face the challenges beyond fear. So I think that is that they are their own sole reason for their success. We are just the supporting pillars for them to work along. Ishank, when is the last date for registration? Ishank, please look up npatch.in. Can we choose other specializations apart from branding and advertising? No, Atharva, it's a specialization in branding and advertising. How can you choose other specializations? Hello, ma'am. What is a minimum score? I will not be able to, to say that. Depends on the students and how they've fared. Difficulty of math and NPAT, Vandita? No, it's very simple. I'm sure it's simple for anybody. It's your basic 8th, 9th level math. You're not going to be asked fractions and all that. It's just basic math. Do we students get time for our other activities after activities required for the curriculum? Vishant, it's a wonderful question because the answer would be no. You will have to find time. Time management is very critical in this program. We've tried and organized the classes in a format which gives you some time to pursue activities that you want to. Like some of them in our current classes also pursue dance and theater and all that, which gives them the time. They have to find the time. Having said that, the classes also have a lot of projects. Now the teachers are now going to be like, today is a class and tomorrow you have to come back with the project. They're given good enough time to submit their projects. So it's entirely time management, and you will learn it as a part of your learning in the system, how to multitask and how to do too many things. So yes, if you're passionate about what you're doing post-class, after class activity, if you're passionate about it, you'll find time for it. So last year, Amisha, we've had a good response. When we started off, we had more than 1,500 students, and out of which we chose about 75. This year, we hear that we've crossed a very big number, and we are choosing about 120. Hold on, slow. Can one do this? Is a divergent test for everyone? Yes, it is. Once you clear the NPAT. Yes, the course will help you build your own brand in future. In fact, the JAM activity or the campus project that you saw is exactly that, where the students, now imagine the students who are making jams, it includes boys and girls, both who've never stepped into the kitchens. Here, they were supposed to make jams on their own from their own kitchen of their homes. They are supposed to create unique flavors. They're supposed to name it. They're supposed to brand it. They're supposed to sell it. They're supposed to market it. They're supposed to send marketing collaterals. Every single thing in the class that happens is linked to their jam process or a business. And what a wonderful learning it is when it is linked to your business. So some of them may want to continue it post their college. Some of them may not. But we are at least giving them a platform to learn better through this. For other courses of NMIMS, my dear, you'll have to look for NMIMS website. There are multiple courses, hospitality and all of this. Is there good money in it, Hussein? I don't understand. Please define good money. If you're worth the value that the company puts in you, then of course it should be. So is there any chance you can take more than 120 students? So last year, this happened with us. We were wanting to limit ourselves at about 60, but there were too many good students, and we stretched ourselves to kind of 75. But this year we don't want to do that. We're trying to hold on to 120. But yes, if there are good students, maybe a couple of them more. But ideally, I'd like to stick to 120 because it disrupts the class ratio. Yes, Shubham, you can apply. Tanmay, I already mentioned about placements. There will be 100% placement assistance. Aditya, we are looking at NPAT from home. We've not yet, we're waiting for the government directive. I'm creative but lack communication skills. It's okay. Will I be admitted? Somebody's written that they lack communication skills. See, communication skills is equally important for us because at the end of the day, we're going to be putting you through rigorous ways. But I'm not saying that there is a student in my class who stutters, who has a problem with English. But at this point in time, he's somebody who is amongst the top 10 students in the class because he's pushed himself. And today, He's overcoming stuttering. Not just that, he's picking up on the language, English language, in a far better way than he was when he started off. So as if you can communicate really well in a nice manner, if you can put across your point across, I don't think that should be an issue. If you're creative, wonderful, we welcome you. You guys are asking the same questions, I've answered it. Ishan says, make it 250 at least. Ishan, we've been told by the university to look at a bigger number, perhaps next year. This year, we are looking at sticking to a 120 seats, yeah? So, minimum number of students who apply to our course, you're saying, is about 2,000 odd, minimum. But, like I said, our basis of selection is not just based on your NPAT, right? So even if you score the basic and NPAT, and you score excellently well in divergent thinking and interview, you shouldn't be worried. What career will I have after this? My dear friend, you're going to be ending up in a very unique career, which is the field of advertising. Very difficult, completely a struggle. It's only fun for people who are passionate about advertising. We don't look at ACT. So Prachi is saying, what is the minimum score? So only for NMIMS School of Branding and Advertising, which is SOBA, we don't look at your SAT or ACT. NPAT is the only one that we'll have along with divergent thinking and interview. Is visual communication design taught as a part of branding and advertising? Yes, logo making and typography is, but design thinking is a part of the program. But not so much because that's not the focus. But the idea is it does cover the basics of that as well. Yes. I think mostly I've answered. Dharma, I've already answered your question. There are no reserved seats. I'm sorry. Tarak, you being a science student will have no impact whatsoever in your branding and advertising selection. If you're creative, I don't care where you come from. Absolutely, Dikshit. You get full knowledge on how to launch, manage your own brand, understand marketing, understand sales, understand operations, understand people, and understand the market, because that's the one that keeps on changing. I'm interested in marketing. Will this course help me? Absolutely. Advertising and branding is a part of marketing. Acceptance rate. Oh my God. Ishika, the only way we accept a student is not, like I said, there have been students in the last year who scored 98%, but do not score well in an interview or a divergent thinking test. So it's entirely the student's ability to present themselves for the diverse. See, when you come for an interview, what are we looking at? We are not looking at what kind of books and what kind of theories you've learned. You have to just learn to be yourselves, and you have to have belief in yourselves, confidence in yourselves, to present, and tell us honestly who you are and what you think. And that's just basically going to be the start of, as for us to select the right student we want in the class. Shushti, no, this is not the first year. This is the second year. You just saw some of the testimonials of the students, yes. So this is the second year. So we have a lot of students, Kush, Navani, who are from abroad and who have applied the NPAT. The same applies for you too. There are centers everywhere, and let's wait for the NPAT bit. Please keep checking npats.in and you will get a response about the tests, and if it is online or if it is regularly at those exam centers, all that is going to be answered there. So Radhika, if you're interested in event management, now event management is a part of marketing and advertising anyway, because at the end of the day, when you do when you're supposed to do an ATL or a BTL activity, it involves events, and hence each summit is a part of the property at the college for the students to work on their events, where they learn not just research, audience acquisition, but to build the kind of celebrities or the people who are coming to listen to them. These are not your very big time celebrities, but to acquire an audience to listen to regular people is a big task. So it is a part of event management that you learn too. You think of any subject, we cover that in NMIMS, branding and advertising. You think of anything, any field, career, opportunity, which falls under the purview of advertising and marketing, we cover it. What about hostel facilities? You have all that information on the website, my dear. You will need to check the website. Once you're selected, we will connect you to the hostel management team, and they'll, you can speak with them, and you can continue. So a lot of students are outstation students, and they are helped with hostel facilities at our end. Do not worry. And they are very good hostel facilities. Can private student apply? I don't understand what you mean by private student. Are you saying the one who's given in a correspondence? If you've cleared the correspondence for your 12th standard, you can. The degree is going to be BBA in branding and advertising. That is a degree. That's your nomenclature. So any questions that I have not answered here, because there are too many, I'm sure my team will respond to them as well. So, I'm just trying to take in the questions that that's somewhat is interesting and important as well. How hard it is to crack NPAT. It depends on how well you prepare for it. Institution is trying to see a student. Okay, like I said, Shivang, what are we trying to look for in a student is somebody who's honest, somebody who's willing to try hard, somebody who's not, who's willing to take ownership, somebody who's willing to push themselves and come out of their comfort zones, and have full faith in us, because I think in this 3 years, what you're going to do is develop you all as individuals who can step out and confidently conquer what they want in any field that they want. So you need to have certain amount of faith and belief in us. So when we say you're supposed to do this activity, you can't question us and say, why am I doing this activity? What is the need for this activity? Only after you do the activities when you will realize why this activity was done. So all the other questions are related to NMIMS, other programs also. Please look up your NMIMS website. You'll find all the details about sports facilities or any other courses and all of those things. Internships. Now, internships is very interesting because we don't believe in the concept of internships, but we do help you all. We have something called as projects, live projects, which is far more valuable according to us. Now, what happens in an internship is you take up a summer or a winter internship, which is about a month or so, wherein you're a part of a company. Now, with the current scenario, no companies are going to be looking at interns. Let me make that clear. The coronavirus has completely changed the scenario of the market at this point in time. Unemployment is going to be a very high issue, and people are not wanting to have any interns, because when interns come in for a period of 1 month, you can't give them a very important aspect of their business, because they take so much time to even understand the nature of the business. So largely interns, jobs are limited to research or finding data, or collating the data, or just being there, printing and stuff like that. And really, that's what an internship normally gets you to do. But what we do is we put you all through hardcore live projects. So for example, to give you an example, the last year, I put my students through a project for CLA, which is Creative Land Asia, where they were given projects for a real client, which was, say, a Reliance Jio, for example, and not just they had to do research, they had to go out, speak with people, get the feedbacks, organize a presentation along with to the stakeholders involved at CLA. Now the learning was brilliant because it was a live client, it was a live project, it was a real client, and the job was a real-time job. So that gives you a glimpse of what happens in an advertising industry, rather than getting an internship where you're simply lost there as one of the members of, out of those 500 people who are working in an organization. I always prefer, I would always recommend an live project more than internship, but internships are also not an issue. We definitely, currently there are a lot of students who are looking at internship at our end, and we will help them out. But let me also say that the markets are not okay. There's a lot of work from home scenario, and they say that it's going to go on for some time. So let's hope that we're able to still give you all better options while you're a part of the program. If you fail in additional subject in class 12, can you apply? I don't think so. You'll have to clear all your subjects. That's the basic criteria. So NPAT mock tests are available on NPAT website. I suggest that you really take up the mock test. I repeat once again, NPAT mock tests are available on NPAT website. Please take the mock test. So you understand what relevance and what percentage and how is the math going to look like, what is the analytical question going to look like. Take that test. Eligibility is independent of math, and all streams can participate. It's open to all the streams. Vinay, tell me cost fee per year including living fee. Vinay, I'll not be able to help that out in this because you have different teams that's managing your stay options, right? So if you go to the hostel people, they'll give you, depending on what you're willing to pay, sometimes say 10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000. So I'll not be able to give you that kind of a answer here, but I can tell you about the course. 3 lakhs per year plus 80,000 plus GST for the activity separate. So it's 3 lakh 80,000, and 80,000 has the GST component. Yeah. For more. Is higher math there in syllabus for NPAT? No, you please take the mock test, Padmaja, and you'll know the answer. Is job placement guaranteed? Tanya, nobody in this world will give you a guaranteed job placement. Nobody. See, look at yourself as individuals. You've perhaps just cleared your 12th grade. Why would a company who's just, looking at the bachelors or students from bachelors want to give you a 100% job unless you are different? Look at the current scenario. You really cannot depend on just academics to give you the kind of jobs that you're looking for. You really need to come out of that comfort zone. You really need to be a student who's different and displayed different abilities for you to get jobs. Hence, this kind of a course is more valuable for students like you, because you're not limited to just academic learning, but the kind of skills that you learn throughout the 3 years puts you as one of those hot listed students in terms of, students who can be looked at from a recruitment perspective, and students who you should not miss out on for any company. Is there an opportunity to become entrepreneur or business owner by doing this course? Absolutely, because entrepreneurship is a part of the curriculum. We don't limit ourselves to just BBA in branding and advertising, but we feel branding and advertising is incomplete without teaching all in entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is taught in the curriculum as well. Yes, you can become an entrepreneur or business owner. Oh no. Thank you, Reed. Thank you so much. You like the session. Okay, so international opportunities, some of them are asking, what about the international learning opportunities? So we have tie-ups with institutions like Babson's, which is in the US, which is in Massachusetts. And what we do is we give an opportunity to the students that during the 3rd year, if they do want to look at a 1-week kind of course at Babson's, we make sure that we facilitate it for them. Now, that is a separate cost that's directly between the University of the Babson's along with y'all. So that's a separate cost. So anybody who's looking for international opportunities, especially in terms of going further ahead and studying, we'd help you with those kind of colleges. So you get an opportunity of doing that small little sessions with them and coming back and then deciding whether I want to take up that course in the long run or not. Yes. So the pictures that you saw previously those are the students who we had taken to Babson's in Harvard, and some of them have already started pursuing those questions, those courses as well. Since our exams are postponed, we'll be able to join college after clearing NPAT and interview. Yes, you will be. Now, when you're looking at your program, we're assuming that we'll start in August. If the pandemic is still going to be a concern, we may have to go on with online bit for about a month or two and then start off with the regular course. But as it is for most of the other education institutions, not just limited to us. But I think we would not be, compromising on safety anyway. We need to be good at drawing and other art forms, anything creative. You'd want you to be creative in any way. One of my students in a divergent thinking test had actually presented the entire concept in the form of a comic book, and that by far was very interesting, because to be able to present the entire portfolio of the questions in a comic format is creativity, according to us, and that student got through. NPAT score minimum, I'm sorry, we will not be able to disclose any of those things. And that's not something that I think you should be able to perform at your best in NPAT. Don't ask these questions. Pursuing MBA after BBA from NMIMS would be a good option. Yes, absolutely, Dikshit. NMIMS is one of the best colleges in the country. You pursue a BBA or an MBA or any course from NMIMS, it has a certain value in the industry. Which campus is this course conducted in Michibai or? So our current one is in Michibai, but we'll see. But it is going to be in NMIMS, don't worry. So, see, if you're looking at the total fees, which is including GST for the component of including the experiential, it comes to 3,94,400 per year, which includes GST. So 3 lakh is for the academic, 80,000 is for your experiential programs plus GST, which makes it 3,94,400. What topic basic knowledge should I know before appearing for the personal interview? So Shivang, as long as you're confident, you're aware of why you want to get into an advertising and branding program, you're aware of what the advertising industry is like. I've had students who have no idea of what ads, what brands. So obviously you're getting into advertising, you should have basic knowledge about advertising and what are the advertising agencies and what kind of brands do they make ads for. I am planning to join my family business. We into luxury bridal jewelry. Can this course help me? Absolutely, Yash. Not just will this program help you in terms of branding and advertising, but also, with the knowledge in terms of marketing and sales and digital and the exposure that you get, it's going to help you completely. We have a lot of entrepreneurs in the program. We have our last year's program, or the ones who won the second year. Most of them are entrepreneurs as well, and they have family business. Ma'am, approximately how many hours we have lectures in one day? Isha, tough question, because sometimes there are 3 lectures, sometimes there are 4, sometimes there are 2. The schedule is very different. We will let you all know of the schedule once we meet the selected students and we have the entire pattern at this point in time, because of the online. I wouldn't be able to comment on what it's going to be, but minimum of 2 lectures every day is definitely there. Plus, you have a lot of activities that you do. So you're supposed to step out of the college and do it. So it does take time. It's not going to be an easy day at all. The curriculum will not be affected at all, Ananya. And that is the beauty about this curriculum. The strategic activities will be pushed to another month or so. But having said that, even our online sessions are very interesting with the faculties, and our students, in fact, have a ball for time during our online sessions and the activities that they're given. And in the given scenario, you will need to come out with the best solutions. So that's how it is. There is no guarantee the program will be shifted to NMIMS building. Krishang, are you joining this program or willing to join this program because you want to be in a glass building? Is the degree eligible for MBA? Yes, it is. How can we contact someone for detailed counseling? Ishan, I will make sure that someone reaches out to you and helps you with more detailed program, because we have a time limit here. I can't be helping you with more questions. Ma'am, is scuba diving and all compulsory? Yes, Isha, like I mentioned, all the experiential activities are compulsory. But if you have fear for water, which is scuba diving, then you have an opportunity to choose mountaineering with Jamling Tenzing Norgay. Yeah. How many activities are available? Many. Experiential activities, there are 2 every year. First year, survival boot camp, horse riding. Second year, scuba or mountaineering, either of them. And you have theatre lessons. And the last one is South African tour. So total of 5 experiential activities for every student, and 1 strategic activity once every week. About 100 strategic activities in 3 years, if I would have to say. And strategic activities are different from experiential activities. Strategic activities are the ones that you go out in the market and you perform based on what you learn in the class. Those are strategic activities. That is actually what builds you as a person. You give preference to students who participate in certain events like MUNs, like MUN. Depends on what you've been doing at MUN, or depends on how you've made use of the learning there. If you're going to be creative and you're able to give us solutions and answers the way that we're looking for in our divergent thinking test and personal interviews, why not? But there's not going to be any particular preference because you've been a part of MUN, no. Krishang, it's not for the glass building, but surely looking forward to, obviously, course what I'm looking forward to. Then you should not be worried. Don't worry. We will put you, Krishang, in a very good classroom and a perfectly good looking bench, along with some very good performing students. What universities abroad do we have exchange programs with? Ravi, ideally exchange programs are not there. We do not offer exchange programs because 3 years itself is too much for us and there's so much more to cover. But if there are students, please understand that there's a difference. If there are students who are interested to take up or get a glimpse of what happens in one of the world's best institutions like Babson's, then we organize a small program with Babson's exclusively for them, which is a 5-day program which happens in Boston. Now, the visa is your responsibility. The fees for that 1-week program is your responsibility. But I can tell you that the experience is mind-blowing because you will meet 500 students from all across the world, right? So it's a very good experience. Now, we can give you that opportunity. If you want to take it up, it's up to you. So I think we'll have to come to an end because my session is almost over. But I will take last 5 questions quickly, but really important ones. Do not ask me again, will NPAT exam be postponed? So I think this has come to an end. All the best, everyone. I'm sure I'll be reaching out to the ones who've put in the questions. Yeah.